ready? All right. Here we go. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and have the roll call, please.
Brandt.
Here.
Frick.
Here.
Mueller.
Here.
Greenway.
Yes. All right. Item number 2 is to approve the agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve our agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda for May 11th, 2026.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Frick.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Brandt.
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. Item number 3 is the approval of the minutes from our April 13th regular school board meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the regular April 13th meeting. Second?
Right, we have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Brandt.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Frick.
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. The next item is the opportunity to disclose any conflict of interest. If anyone has any to declare, please present that to us now. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to item number 5, our consent agenda. And I would ask that we pull off letter E from our consent agenda. Anyone else have any they would like to pull off for discussion? Then an approval of the consent agenda, less item E, please.
Motion to approve the consent agenda minus E.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve our consent agenda, less item E. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mueller.
Yes.
Frick.
Yes.
Brandt.
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. Item E, I will bring back for a motion. The work agreement for Dave Greenaway.
Motion to approve item E on the consent agenda, Dave Greenaway work agreement.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second for the work agreement for Dave Greenaway. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mueller.
Yes.
Brandt.
Yes.
Frick.
Yes.
Schild.
Yes.
Greenway.
Abstain. Shireen, did we have anyone tonight sign up for public comment?
No.
All right, we'll move right on into student achievement and good news. And we have Melanie Riken and Sean Straley. And Sean, it looks like you're heading to the podium.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Quite a few things going on, a lot to celebrate, but I'll keep it brief. I couldn't go through celebrations without mentioning prom. Prom was April 25th. A lot of preparation by a lot of class advisors, student groups, and I was just so pleased on how it turned out that night. All the students conducted themselves just in an outstanding way. A lot of pre-prom questions that were fielded leading up to the event, but just a wonderful evening for our students. And I get in trouble with my phone here. Awards nights, we've had 3 of them, and we're having 3 of them. We had our athletic awards on April 30th, and we are having our academic awards tonight, 6:30, and then our fine arts awards will take place on Thursday. Just really quite something when you attend these events. What pops out to me is just how hard our students work to achieve these milestones, and then how hard our teachers work to get those students across the finish line, how hard our parents work to work as a team to get the students where they're at, and then our community, just all the money, the organizations, the businesses coming together to support our students. It's really when you take a step back and look at the big picture, how all of the hard work coming together as a team and how wonderful this Yankton community is. Just really a culminating event, and you'll, if you have time, I encourage you to come tonight at 6:30. You'll see that again, all the scholarship funds, and just all the recognition of the hard work of our students and our staff. So just really a neat thing to experience here with all of our awards nights. I want to mention scheduling and planning for next year. Mr. D works very hard, very close to being finalized for the schedule for next year. There's so many moving parts, and just acknowledging the counseling team and the leadership team as well. It's a huge puzzle, but the focus always has to remain on what's best for students. And a lot of that, especially within the counseling piece, going one by one with individual students to see what is needed and work through there. So lot being done right now, already for August start date. And then graduation, Sunday, 1 o'clock. That's where it all comes together. Right now, 208 graduates, so a lot of planning going into this event, and just a wonderful time to highlight and put an exclamation mark on the school year. So thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Melanie, you're up.
Hello, board members. Appreciate being here tonight on behalf of Trailhead. And a lot of my Trailhead friends and colleagues are here, so I'll ask them to wave. And yeah, be proud, recognize yourselves. So thank you. You know, I think it's fitting that for our inaugural year that we come here at the very end of the year. We also, as a reminder, came at the very beginning of the year in September, and oh, how many things have changed in that time. So, you know, the last few weeks, months, I've been reflecting, and I thought back to 5 or 6 years ago when we started all of this planning, right? That's how long ago it was. And if someone were to have asked me that at the time, what might learning look like, or what might this facility look like, really never ever in my wildest dreams would I have imagined what we have. And I can think of only one constant in that, and you know, to me, that's really due to our staff. They've made it work. They planned everything. Nothing was a surprise. They poured everything into it. So I just can't say enough good about that. And I mean all staff, right? Everybody that works in and out of that facility. So I think one thing that those maybe not intimately involved in the process, they might think, oh, it's just a school, right? Like communities open schools all the time. But typically, I think those would be a replacement school for something old. A new school because of increased enrollment. But this isn't that. We didn't open a new Webster school. We didn't open a new elementary school. We opened a new early learning facility that Yankton didn't have, that our state didn't have, and we couldn't find anyone in the region that had. So it didn't come with an instruction book. It didn't come with a manual of things to cross off. And so I think that's what makes it so spectacular, really. And so I hope everybody keeps that into perspective. I did write down some thoughts, and although very impersonal, I'd like to read them to you instead of just talk, because I don't want to skip anything. And as my dad would say, we Vigs kind of have allergies flare up at times like these. So bear with me, right? So here we go. This past August, we didn't just open a school. We opened the door to something entirely new at Trailhead Learning Center, a vision that at times felt ambitious and even uncertain. We brought together our state's first early childhood center of its kind, serving preschool, junior K, and kindergarten students in a way that had never been done before. This was the launch of an entirely new way of thinking about early learning, one that we rooted in research, intentional design, and a deep belief in what our youngest learners were capable of achieving. And while the building is beautiful and the design is certainly cutting edge, what truly makes this place extraordinary is what's happening inside. Before a single student walked through the doors at TLC, there were hundreds, and I mean hundreds of hours poured into making this a reality. Hours spent planning, questioning, researching, designing, and reimagining what early learning would look like. Our staff came together from 4 different buildings, stepping out of what was really very familiar and comfortable. They stepped into something completely new, And they didn't just adjust, they committed fully. They embraced a cutting-edge model centered on visible learning, collaboration, and thoughtfully designed spaces. Spaces that promote transparency through glass walls, minimize visual clutter, promote inclusivity, and maximize opportunities for connection, engagement, and really shared ownership of learning. With that came vulnerability. Teaching in a space where your practice is visible, where collaboration is constant, and where change is ongoing and perhaps not easy, and yet they continued to forge on. What has stayed with me all year is not just what they built, but how they built it. They built it with positivity, with flexibility, with a we'll figure it out mindset, even on the very hardest days. They showed up for each other, they supported one another, they shifted and changed direction with one another too many times to count. And they gave more of their time, energy, and hearts than anyone could have ever asked. And they did it all for our students. And because of that, please know that our Trailhead Learning Center students have thrived. We're seeing growth in reading and math that surpasses anything we've seen before. The spring data is strong, but more importantly, the learning is real. You can feel it when you walk through the building. You can see it in the confidence of our students, in their engagement, in their joy. That kind of success, I believe, doesn't happen by chance. It happens because of people. As I reflect on this very first year, I find myself incredibly proud, but even more than that, deeply grateful. Grateful for a staff who believed in something new before they could even see it, and grateful for their courage, their commitment, and their unwavering belief in what is possible for our littlest learners. The staff at Trailhead, in my opinion, didn't just open a school this year. They created something special, something lasting, and I truly believe this is only the beginning. So with that, Tiff Bestie has helped us create a little video that maybe now you guys can have your allergies flare up along with me as you watch it. We're building something special here.
I love PE. I love my teacher. I love to play at the playground. Play those balls outside. I love my classroom. I love the book. I love recess. I like math. I love IB. I love our teacher. Everybody being nice. That you learn. Mr. being the best. I really like makerspace. Library. I'm happy when I make new friends. When we have free time. I like to play with the TV wheel. I love swinging.
I feel like we're creating an environment of positive collaboration.
A safe environment for children to explore.
An inclusive environment for all learners at Trailhead Learning Center.
That's easy. The kids.
My coworkers.
The students.
Amazing. Wonderful.
Unique.
Fun.
I love TLC. I love Team LC. I love my school. Aww. I'm gonna miss Trailhead next year. I'm gonna miss Trailhead is the best. Trailhead is the best. Trailhead is the best.
This is only the beginning.
Questions or comments?
I just want to say that it's so exciting to get to see the first year completed. I know how much heart and love and energy went into that facility, as you mentioned, on your part and the staff. Getting to see a lot of you here that I got to see through the process as well, and seeing it come to fruition and you guys embracing it wholeheartedly. As Melanie said too, you know, on the tough days, you still figured it out and you navigated a completely new learning environment, not just for kids, but for teachers. And I think having an administrator like you who truly, I mean, we could see your heart in it from day one, you know, and getting to see the little seats that they're sitting on and seeing them be used and their feet up and using all those spaces. It's just really, really exciting. It's hard to put into words, and I'm sure you experienced that in writing it. But I think Yankton is really, really, I don't want to say lucky because it's not luck. It's a lot of hard work, but it's pretty phenomenal that we live in a district that has a facility like this. And to start off our learners the way we do is just a blessing. So thank you for the commitment and the hard work and all the teachers and all the staff there. Just thank you. It's unbelievable to get to see, and it's really fun to get to see you guys thrive in that environment and learn it together. So thank you.
Any other comments? I will just say that I did have an opportunity, and I turned around and went back now that there was some time that the students got to be able to get used to, and the teachers got used to everything, and I wanted to go back and see how it all flowed together. So, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so, Melanie was gracious enough to tour me through so that I could see it in action. I wanted to be able to see the collaboration, and it is just an amazing environment to be in. And we had, you know, just some concerns with things. You know, I thought, oh my gosh, we got all these glass walls and everybody's looking through. How are they ever going to pay attention? And I tell you what, I went through every hallway and floor, and I don't know that any other students even knew I was there because they were so engaged and focused on what was going on in the classroom and around them. I don't even think the teachers looked up to see that I was there, so it was great. So things that, you know, I took away from that is I still, in the lunchroom, know how to open up syrup containers. I know how to clean up spilled syrup. The kids had a day that they were private eyes, and they got to go outside with their bug boxes and look for bugs. I didn't know there were so many different ways that you could sit on a stool, but apparently the kids don't have any fear and they can just pull right in and do it. The library, watching the kiddos just fumble, you know, cruise through all the little options they have for books, pick the one out they wanted, go to the checkout center, you know, scan it, point to their name, check it out. It was great. So kudos to you, Melanie, for, you know, being the administrator, to all of the teachers that are here. The work is phenomenal, and you could see it on every little face that I saw that day. It was amazing. So thank you. All right, item number 8. We are recircling back to the curriculum that we had presented to us last month. So with that, Ms. Valnes, I'll let you take it away first with world language curriculum.
All right, this is new. So last month was something different, but this one's new. So this last fall, we began working with the world language curriculum review. World language is where our Spanish courses lie, as well as some exploring courses at the middle school. So as we unpack those standards, the committee examined the progress of skills from the beginning, that intro course at the middle school, all the way through our more advanced courses at the high school, such as Spanish 2, 3, and then AP Spanish. When we did that review, we identified meaningful overlap amongst the courses and opportunities to strengthen our vertical alignment of skills. This work resulted in the revisions to the course outline provided, direction for our delivery norms, our assessment, our grading practices, with the goal of greater consistency and alignment across our Spanish program. The committee also recommends adding the following course title and description to Yankton High School's world language offering as American Sign Language. The addition of this course, which is outlined in the guide, is the addition of this course and potential staffing needs will continue to be reviewed and discussed over the next several years prior to implementing it and offering it to our students to register for. Also, next year at the state level, the world language content standards will be reviewed. So the current ones that we have in the guide are from 2019. And so we did align our course outline there, but we may need to bring that back around to the board next school year after we see those revisions. I thank the committee. We have several here today of our teachers, our school staff, administrators, and school board members for being on our committee. It's a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of reflection that goes into the document that you have. So on behalf of the World Language Curriculum Committee, we would recommend the adoption of the attached to the school board notes, the 6 through 12 World Language Curriculum Guide for 2026. The proposed changes and updates do align with the current World Language Standards at 2019, Mount Marty University guidelines, as well as AP standards. Any questions?
Any question for Nicole? And my apologies, I was just, sorry,
so
I knew that
many.
it was the curriculum guide, but I'm so used to changing it. So if there are no comments, I would open it up for motion to approve.
Motion to approve the World Language Curriculum Guide as presented.
And a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mueller,
Yes.
Shield,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Frick,
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. All right, and B is the art curriculum guide. I'll let you go ahead and share that.
All right, so this fall we also had our art curriculum committee start. We again start with unpacking the standards. The committee examined the progression of skills, beginning with their introduction in preschool. So we added preschool to this curriculum committee this year and continuing all the way through those advanced courses that we see at YHS. Through the process, we developed a shared belief statement to guide our work. That's one of probably, I know it's kind of silly, or you might think I'm kind of a nerd, but that's one of my favorite parts, is to see from preschool all the way through 12th grade to come together and say this is what we believe in this content area. So as a result of that belief statement, the committee identified essential understandings that each grade level will adhere to, and then ensuring that they have a clear progression of learning from where they build on one year to the next. These essential understandings are outlined in the guide, and they just serve as a foundation and a guide for our teachers for instructional delivery, assessment, and then grading practices. In addition, identifying where skills are explored, like at preschool, introduced at the elementary, and then expected to be mastered as they move into middle school, high school. And we'll use those to guide our ongoing review next year when we select instructional resources. So as part of this process, we added 2 course outlines to the guide as potential future course offerings at YHS. Again, they're subject to staffing availability. We are going to put them as a course code under CTE, so then they would be subject under staff certification in that area, and then ultimately student interest in order to offer those courses. So these additions would help expand our YHS CTE under Arts, AV, Technology, and Communications pathway offering, and it would include photography, multimedia design, and then an art portfolio, which would be used as a capstone course. Again, thank you to all of the committee members. It takes a lot of discussion, time, and work in order to make these things happen. And then our school board member for being on the committee. I appreciate all of your efforts on that. So on behalf of the Art Curriculum Committee, we would recommend adopting the revised preschool through 12th grade art curriculum guide. The proposed changes do align with the South Dakota Fine Arts Content Standards from 2022, the CTE Content Standards from 2026, they're brand new, as well as Mount Marty Guidelines and AP Standards. Any questions?
I just want to say one thing, a couple things, but thank you for having me on the committee. It was my first opportunity to sit on one. They were very well ran, very organized, collaborative. I learned hamburger versus hot dog, portrait versus landscape. When Ms. Valnez first asked me, I'm like, I'm more of a hammer and nail type of guy. I don't know about an art committee. But after attending a couple of the meetings, I was able to see the process and how it worked, and it was very valuable for me as a board member, so thank you.
Very good. Any other comments or questions for Nicole? All right, then I would open it up for entertainment to approve the art curriculum guide.
Motion to approve the art curriculum guide is presented.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Brandt,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Frick,
Yes.
Shield,
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. Item number 9 on our agenda is our Forward 2029 strategic plan. And we have 3 sections that we're going to be hearing from tonight. And Mr. Decker, it looks like you got the first leg of this.
All right, here we go. Well, thank you for having me speak. And I'm here with Mr. Striley and Officer Olson, too, that are kind of heading up with our school safety committee as well. And, you know, as we're going through this, there's nothing more important than school safety, and I'd say between all of us on that committee, we're really bought into this and have a really great passion for and ownership over school safety. So going through it, some of the objectives I'll kind of go through right away with the objective of reviewing the existing school resource officer program. So this is my time to kind of brag about Officer Olson and Officer Russenberger, who you know, just last week we got sent some data from Officer Olson, who each year it's analyzed year to year. Some of that data includes incident data along with, you know, some of the legal things that go along with that data. Our SROs complete annual training, as well as they're part of national and state organizations, which I think is phenomenal. Their presence has a great impact on illegal activity in our schools, and it just can't be measured, but it absolutely plays a major role in the safety of all of our buildings. And between curriculum that they have, I know Officer Olson just did some curriculum with our 8th graders at YMS, including safety and online safety, or the DARE program, or even passing out bike helmets at the elementaries. I just think our SROs do so much for our district, and I just want to thank them for all they do. Moving on to objective number 2, providing stakeholders with information on student safety. You know, you can look at those action items, and a lot of that we do a lot of, but some examples that we've reviewed in the past year since 2024. In August 2024, we had a school safety night, which, and I've come up here and I've talked about the I Love You Guys Foundation and how we've adopted those safety protocols. That was a night that we introduced that to the public, which again goes along with that action item of going through and talking to the community about that. But in January 25, we created for staff the YSD safety app in ClassLink with the help of Tiff Bestie, which gives staff information about some of our protocols, which I think gives just is a great thing for all stakeholders involved, including our staff, with those trainings to go through and examine what they need to in order to keep students and themselves safe. And then lastly, with that, to talk about with objective number 2, to provide stakeholders with information. Earlier this year, we developed on our school website a school safety tab, which I think is so important to the community and the public, for them to take a look at some of our safety protocols, including when incidents happen. You know, how will they be communicated, and a lot of those details too, and you can take a look at that online too with our I Love You Guys protocols and our 5 action steps. But I just think that's important for community members to know, and as well as everyone in the Yankton area as well. They get to look at our website and go, this is what this means if this action item, or if you get a text message from your, or a message from your school. But this is what that means, and I think it's great for our community to educate themselves on that. Objective number 3, train staff and provide staff training and practice implementing safety plans. Some of these action items, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but we've done a lot of safety training in the last 2 years, especially with the I Love You Guys Foundation. Whether it be having them come in, they've come in twice, one to introduce the different protocols that our district has implemented in the last two years, and one time they came in to help run a reunification exercise with us, and they laid the foundation of what one looks like, and I'll kind of talk about that here coming up. But along with the I Love You Guys trainings we're doing at in-services at the beginning and ends of the year, these past 2 years, our staff does ALICE training, and a lot of our staff this past year did something called, which ALICE is again in the action training of if there's ever an assailant in a building, which I think is great to talk about. But a training that we did recently from the state of South Dakota with Brett Garland was a CSTAG training, which is a threat assessment training, which we have teams in all buildings about with that, which I think it's great training for staff to know if there ever was a threat and how to handle it. But that kind of tackles some of that action item with objective number 3. Updating the flip charts every year that gets done, along with improving and practicing the reunification plan. We've had in the past 2 years reunification exercises in May 25, August 2025, October 2025, and we're going to keep having more. But there's so much that goes into those reunification exercises with building principles. There's just a collaborative team effort, but it's really important. When I got assigned to the committee, the reunification booklet was just a lot. There was so much going on, but the I Love You Guys adoption was great, and having staff buy into that has been great too, and actually practicing it, which I think our district does great, and investing in practicing reunification. So if we need to, we're ready to go, which it's been awesome. And the last action item there, study software options for crisis planning and reunification. We've done a couple of webinars with some companies, one including E3 and Raptor Technologies, how we can incorporate our safety actions to maybe updating with technology so parents, staff, and students even know what action we're in, what that means, where to go, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a lot. I tried to not go too far into details, but I'm open to any questions about the school safety strategic goals.
I'm going to speak just from a parent's perspective here a little bit, also as a board member, but this is something that as a parent gives me so much peace of mind, getting to see this planning and that it doesn't stop, and I know firsthand that there's a lot of research that goes into it, figuring out what's going to work best for our district. The I Love You Guys, after reading on that whole thing, it's an awesome program, and I think it teaches kids how to function, not just our teachers and our administrators, but the students how to function in those situations too. So I can say firsthand as a parent, anytime emails or messages get sent out to us about something that might be going on, I don't have that instant gut reaction of like, oh my gosh, I need to know what's happening. I trust the school, I trust the administrators, I trust our SRO officers, and I think that is a huge just win for our district, that you can, as a parent, sit back and be really comfortable and know your kids are in good hands, and that you guys are always planning and figuring out the best way to keep our kiddos safe at any age. So just appreciate all of that, and yeah, it's just nice to be able to go to bed at night and have peace of mind that my kids are going to go to school the next day, and I'm comfortable and confident in that. So thank you.
Very well said. Anyone else have comments or questions? All right, student achievement. Mr. Dorachek. You're leading the pack. Are you going up? Oh, okay.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I'm here on behalf of our Student Achievement Strategic Planning Goal with Dr. Olson, Ms. Valnez, and all of our elementary principals as well. You know, our vision is over the course of the 5 years is as we can continue to implement programming designed to meet diverse student needs while maintaining and standing among the highest achieving school districts in South Dakota. And we're looking at that as well as making sure, as you've seen tonight with our curriculum guides that we bring forward to you, we're enhancing that. We're making students engage. We want to keep them motivated. We want to make sure that we continue the academic excellence, just as we've shown you within our individual meetings with our student data. As we look at objective 1, we're refining the district-wide MTSS, the multi-tiered support system model, to ensure the growth of all students. And with Mr. Clemish, Ms. Valnez, with the MTS from preschool all the way to high school, it's been a fantastic way that we've been able to use data digs to reach in, figure out where we're at, where we need to go, and what we need to continue to do to show growth. We also are looking at how do we keep up with that engagement with CTE, our CTE programming. That's all starting, and I believe, and I would bet that we are about the only district in the state that starts that at the preschool level. With the manipulatives and the things that they're able to do within each of their units in their time that they spend in the Makerspace lab. Continuing that on to the elementary, to the middle school, to the high school, developing a path for them to not just choose, but explore and see. I think that's really important with what we want with our academics and our student achievement. Also during this time, we've implemented in the past with a elementary standards-based report card where we successfully revised what we're evaluating, what we're sharing with parents, and that's something that has been really successful, that we're able to share out and really show what those look like and share the growth of our students. Objective 2 there is a really big part of academic planning, academic success, and that's professional development opportunities for our teachers. We need to get them in front and see the utmost opportunities and best research-based instructional strategies, and to make sure that we can have growth at all different levels. You know, I can say this very proudly. Back in April, we brought all of our staff to the TIE conference. We're the only district that did that, and that was something that was important to us, where we could get everybody up and get them professional development that they could take back. And anytime you have professional development, we always say, let's take back one thing that you can do. And I think that's always important with that. And if you were able to attend our Title I night and to show all of the things that we do with that, with Mr. Clemish, Ms. Valnez, there is just a wide variety of professional development that we're able to continue to look at with that. So really proud with that. One thing that we continue to look at as well, as kind of we summarize, is just that analyzing data and what is the best practices. Like I said earlier, each of you were able to come in and sit down with us at a time when we look at our individual reports from schools to individual students to the things of what we're doing great, what we need to work on, and what direction that we need to go. Sometimes those tasks aren't easy. Sometimes it's easy for outside people to target a percentage, those types of different areas. You'll hear that a lot within political races. They have no idea what that actually means and what that looks like. So I appreciate each and every one of you that have came in and been able to listen to those data digs and the outcomes that we've had at each of those. That kind of wraps up our student achievement. I'll open it up for any questions or any other additional comments.
I just want to say that student achievement seems like this big ominous thing that we're always going to be working towards that. We're an education system. And so I think beyond, like, the data is useful as a jumping off point, and it gives us direction, and numbers are not just numbers. They're giving us some direction as to what to do. And I think the teachers and everybody work together really well to get that done. So thank you. It's a hard task, but it's the whole beast, isn't it? Thanks.
I just want to make a comment to follow up Mr. Doracek. So in the legislative session the past 2 years, including this one that we just got out of for the session, there was a lot of talk with our local politicians statewide that our kids are failing. They're failing in reading, they're failing in math. That is not true in the Yankton School District. The test is failing our kids. We have a terrible state test. That's what's failing our kids. We can sit down with anybody, and I invited all 3 of our legislators to sit down and go through that data during the session when it was being debated, and Mike Stevens showed up. And so until our local political people understand the testing and the data, it's a tough sell when the wrong message is being put out there. So I'm proud of our kids. Our teachers are proud of our kids. They are doing really well. And so don't let this failing test be the narrative for how well our kids are doing in the Yankton School District.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 3, family and community engagement. Mr. Lucas, Nicole, Mrs. Bonus.
All right, so I'm going to start here of objective 1. So improve the clarity of communication channels to actively engage our families and our community. This is something that we continuously work on, and we do hear and know the comment of, we have so many apps. So we try to really drive the purpose of each one, because there's not one app that does everything that we need within the school system. So for action item number 1, on our school website under the Parents tab is a one-pager kind of that tells you which apps are used for what type of information. If you want to know your child's grades, you should use the campus app. If you want to know school or district information, you're going to need to follow our messaging that comes through text message or email. So we try to really define those on that document, and that was shared last year and continues to be updated as things evolve. For the next action item, develop a protocol for sending emails. This is something we're working really hard on. It's not typically when you text out or you message out of campus as a classroom teacher or as a coach or advisor, it's hard to remember to say, even for myself when I message my Ed Rising students, to start with YHS Ed Rising. It's just not a natural thing when I'm texting. I don't say who I'm texting, right? You don't start with, oh, Jacqueline, how are you today, right? So it's something we're still working on. Thank you for the feedback from the community about we want to know who the text is for and who it's from. And so please be patient as we continue to evolve in improving that. But we are working hard on making sure that that's very clear about who the messaging is going out to. With that, also on that second action item, it discusses installing the electronic messaging boards. Well, if you haven't seen those, you must be driving with your eyes closed, going past all of our schools. They're really nice, very helpful, quick information. Please be sure you're checking those out. And those have been installed all year. And then continue to evaluate and optimize those communication channels. It's something that we constantly do as admin, and then I constantly think about, since Mr. Lucas and I are on this committee, any feedback that we get from parents or teachers. As Mr. D said, we had a Title I night meeting a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, and we got some good information about parent engagement for there. So really always taking feedback to continue to improve. And then one thing I'd like to share, as this is not a different thing, but it will seem different, is that one of our communication channels, Remind, which is often used by our fine arts and athletic coaches, our advisors, our classroom teachers, so more at that closer to your child level, so the classroom or the coach level. Remind was bought out by a company called Parent Square, so we are forced to change. The Remind app will no longer be used for what we can do with it today. And so you will start seeing messaging from the school, and some of you maybe already have. If you're a band parent, you already started in Parent Square. I see lots of messaging going out there. We've piloted this in a few classrooms, gathered feedback from parents there and staff as well. So Parent Square, bought out by Remind. It is a different app. You can, after the school year is done, you can remove the Remind app, and we will be shifting to Parent Square. So you'll start seeing messaging from us to download this app and get connected to us this way.
Our second objective was to expand opportunities for volunteers by inviting and encouraging active participation from families and community members. That's one thing we've worked really hard on. COVID kind of separated that a little bit, where parents didn't know what they could volunteer for, or community members. So we keep encouraging people to become part of the parent-teacher organization group that each school has, where they set up different activities that they do. Every school does a couple different things, but setting out sign-up geniuses to get volunteers to come in. Also win time, which is what I need time. We have a lot of retired teachers that are starting to come back and volunteer during those 30 minutes, which is great. We encourage people to reach out to the school if they ever have questions for things. We've also got a lot of high school volunteers through Educator Rising and that come in on Mondays and volunteer to work with kids just to get that feel for what it's like to be in the education world. And we're always encouraging teachers to reach out to the parents. The parents want to volunteer, but they don't want to be like, they don't want to feel like they're bothering you by reaching out, but reach out to the parents. We just did a thing at Stewart the other day where we asked for 5th grade parents to volunteer for painting the mural. And they're like, this was so much fun to come to school and see the kids and the things they're doing. So we just keep encouraging teachers to do that, reach out to the parents. Our third objective was to strengthen collaborative partnerships between the district and the community. I think we've done a great job with this. We have junior achievement at grades 2nd through 4th, YMS and YHS, Big Friend, Little Friend, CTE courses, community partnerships with that. For one of our in-services coming up, we're doing staff tours to a lot of different things in the community so they can see what our families are working in, where they're at, and where our kids are going from there. And I think that's a great connection we have. Makerspace TLC, they do CTE clusters each month. We want to continue that through the elementary buildings as well. Other things we've started, Field to Table, 4th and 5th graders go to that. That's going and seeing the agricultural world. We also go to the Safety Center, Police Station for tours, First Dakota Bank tours, Mead Cultural Center. Educator for a Day is something I know that Beetle does, where they have community members come in and just do like a little lesson on what their career is. And then we also have our career development with math and science, where we're starting to get a lot where it ties it to how does this relate to when you graduate from high school and things like that. Do you guys have any questions for me or Nicole?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, item number 10, Mr. Graham Forbes from Williams and Company is here to present our audit report for the fiscal year ending June of 2025. And we have this nice thick book in front of us that Mr. Forbes is going to highlight for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess first off, I want to thank Shireen and all her staff. It takes a lot of their time to provide us all the information we request to be able to audit the financial statements, and then a lot of their time to put together this 130-some page document that's got a lot of data and good information in here. So, and you know, their staff's always very prompt, responsive, all the things we request and ask for, and we appreciate their help in working with them. So I want to make sure and get that said from the get-go here. But yeah, I'll hit a few things. Looks like y'all have a copy of the report in front of you there. I'll touch on a few things, but please, you know, any board member, Shireen, if anything like to point out or have questions on, I'd be more than happy. But Starting on page 10 of the document is our independent auditor's report, and that's the kind of main outcome of the whole engagement is where we put our opinion on these financial statements. And so the second paragraph there on page 10 is kind of the meat and potatoes of all that, where we say, in our opinion, that these financial statements are fairly presented. So that's a clean, if you will, or unmodified opinion. No reason we needed to modify, disclaim, or in any other way modify that opinion. So great news there. Starting on page 13 is management's discussion and analysis. I'm not going to dive into any of that, but that's about 10 pages of a lot of comparative information in this case, and I guess that's something else I should back up a step. These are financials for the 12 months ended June 30th, 25. So we're going back in time here a little bit. So all this data is for FY25. And so that MD&A that starts on page 13, that's comparing some FY25 data to some FY24 data, and then district staff providing some commentary on, you know, what was behind some of those changes from year to year, and some good, if I'm looking for, I don't want to look through all 130 pages, but I want to feel for how are we compared to last year, and then some commentary behind that management's discussion analysis that starts on page 13 there is a great spot to get that. So good information there. I think there quickly, I'll jump and just hit on a couple financial items. Page 33 and 34. That's where we get to the end of the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the governmental funds. And the district has just 4 governmental funds, as you see towards the top of the page there: the general fund, capital outlay fund, TLC, and then special ed fund. And I kind of jumped to the end of the statement there, but you see towards the bottom the net change in fund balance, and that's kind of in the corporate or for-profit world, that'd be your net income, kind of a type comparable amount. And you can see for the general fund a $350,000 net change in fund balance. So, you know, on a $25 or $30 million budget, a pretty stable, flat year, which I think is kind of exactly what the board is looking for when they put that budget together. The capital outlay fund and TLC building project funds showed larger decreases, but there again, you know, budgeted for, planned for, especially on the TLC one, you know, not a surprise there as we just saw a presentation on facility that got finished. So that was the spending of the last of those dollars borrowed to complete that project, and see, you know, spent down most of that fund balance, which was completely expected as those dollars were spent for that project. So no surprises there whatsoever. And then in the special ed fund, you know, a stable kind of flat year there as well. So nothing of concern or unexpected on those items at all. And then a similar statement on page 37 is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in net position for the proprietary funds. The district's 2 proprietary funds are the food service fund and the concessions fund. And they're segregated in the way they are just because of the type of fund and how they're required to be reported. But similar kind of result, if you will, where they had, you know, stable, you know, budgetarily expected kind of outcome, where they both, you know, the food service showed a small decrease, concessions fund a small increase in those ending fund balances. So nothing there, again, unexpected or out of the ordinary. Gonna skip the notes to the financials, start on 41. I'm not gonna dive into any of it. There's a lot of data and information there. So if you're looking to drill into any certain area of the financials, outstanding debt, accounting policies, there's quite a few pension and wage related liabilities are recorded, statutorily required to be reported by the state and government accounting standards. There's a lot of detail on those items. So if we're looking to drill into any certain line items or aspect of the financials, there's a lot of data that gets into the finite points of those areas in those notes. I think the last couple items I'll point out, starting on page, bear with me, on 65, are the budgetary comparison schedules. And that's just like it sounds. We take the original budgeted amounts, and if there's any supplements or amendments to those budgets, compare that to the actual amount. So it's, okay, compared to the budget, how did we really do? And I think that's good, useful information for management as well as the financial statement users to see, okay, here's what we budgeted, here's what our actual outcomes were, and be able to see that in kind of a comparative comparison type schedule there. So good information in those budgetary comparison schedules. And then from there, it goes into some more details on some of the OPEB and pension liabilities, the district reports, which is, again, useful to look to see some kind of trend information there. And from there, on page 75 starts the statistical section, which I'm not going to get into any specifics there, but there's about 30 different tables that show information from 10-year financial history for the district's financials to demographics to stats on number of employees and kind of all points in between, outstanding debt. So a lot of good information there. And I know bonding companies utilize that information as well when the district, is required to sell bonds. That information is valuable to those users as well. So good information there. I think the last items here I'll touch on, and again, quit my ramble here, but we'll be happy to answer any questions. Page 121 is the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. And just like it sounds, that schedule shows the federal dollars the district spent in FY25. So as you can see kind of towards the middle of the page, there's about $3.6 million of federal funds the district spent in FY25 through a variety, it looks like about 20 different federal programs that funding was received through and utilized by the district in FY25. And because that amount exceeded $750,000, the district was subject to what's called single audit requirements, which means we as auditors are required to do some other detailed testing on did the district utilize those funds in accordance with the large amount of compliance requirements that come with the federal dollars, and then following that schedule is some reporting related to that testing we're required to do, and reading through those required reports, you see that there was no findings related to how the district spent those federal funds. So no issues there. The last thing I will point out, I promise it really is the last thing, on page 128 is the schedule of findings of question costs. And I've pointed this out to the board in other years previously, but I thought it'd been a few years, I will again. We do have the one finding that any of you that have been on the board for a number of years have seen every year you've been on the board, where we have the material weakness over financial accounting. And like the title kind of indicates, what that is auditing standards over internal control say that if the auditor is required to propose any adjustments to fix or correct any items in the financial statements, then the district or the government, their internal control over financial reporting didn't operate correctly because it required an adjustment. Which, again, if you've been on the board a while, you hear me say it's a pretty unattainable standard to put together 130 pages of financials and thousands of transactions and not have a few items that need some adjustment. So I just like to kind of point out that that's what that material weakness is referring to. It's not indicating a reduction in quality or lesser quality than a prior year or anything like that. It just points out that we did have to propose some audit adjustments as we have every year, and therefore per the standards, which I feel is a pretty harsh standard to try to live by, there was a weakness, if you will, in that control system because we had to do that. And so that's what that note refers to. So
is that just as simple as we booked it into this category, but the accounting principle rules say it really needed to be booked into this category? So you see that, you make the adjustment, it's not anything.
There's a variety of different things. I mean, there's some categorization, struggle with that word there, things, things like, these are accrual basis financial statements. So maybe dollars are spent that get reimbursed by a federal grant, but that funding doesn't come in until way after the fact, and maybe we need to get some of those added to the financials. Or trying to think a few other items, or, you know, to get the proper property tax amounts that were due but unpaid at the end of the year, and get that information from the county and get those recorded. And you know, there's just a lot that goes into it. So I don't have a listing of exactly, and the district does have that. You know, Shereen has that data of all the journal entries that are proposed. But yes, I mean, it's not any overarching, you know, like I said, where we were having to disclaim on these financials because we couldn't put an opinion on them. You know, there are things we propose that we need to adjust this to make them fairly stated. But again, nothing out of the ordinary, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Okay, very good. Was some of the board members getting this as a first look or just a repeat look? Any questions? I know that this is our first look at this. Questions now? Otherwise, as we go through it, Sharina is available to help answer any questions, and we can always reach out.
Yeah, and I'm available to Shereen and the board.
Yep.
You know, not just during the time we're working on the audit. And Shereen's good about if a transaction or something comes up, you know, throughout the year. It's like, gee, you know, how should we handle this? How should we report this? You know, things like that. She's good about reaching out and being proactive, and that's appreciated. I mean, it's much easier to get things handled the right way the first time around, and rather than hope to get caught and fixed later. So we as auditors appreciate that.
Yeah, and we appreciate it as a board too, to be proactive and do it right the first time, because it's important that, you know, this is kind of our document for getting our quality for bonding and whatnot. So appreciate it. Any questions? Yep. All right. Well, with no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the audit report.
Motion to approve the annual audit report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, performed by Williams & Co. CPAs in Lamars, Iowa.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mueller,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Frick,
Yes.
Shield,
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate your
Thank you.
coming to help us. Item number 11 is our Title I policy, and Mr. Klimisch, Director of Student Services, will be here to share the information with us.
Good evening, Board. This will be a very quick first read on our Title I policy. Nicole mentioned April 27th we had this room full of parents, administrators, and Title I teachers, and we did go over this document, made some easy upgrades, got rid of Connect 5 and some of our old communications, which I totally forgot about Connect 5. We've had 2 since then. So on page 2, that consolidated grant meeting, we had our parents really did come to that meeting and have some great input for us. And we send out surveys, and we really talk to them about our future surveys. We'll have parent signatures. In case there is a problem, we want to know how to fix it. And sometimes that's what we're getting, is just a survey. Maybe someone feels like our communication isn't as good as it should be, but we don't have any way to follow up with them, so we want some two-way communication to go with that. Also on page 3, you see the red lines, very few of those. And finally, this Thursday night, the 14th, we have our Title I celebration night. I will be selling free hot dogs, and you can come and party with the kids because it is a great time. We meet at the library. I'd like to thank the high school students for volunteering, and we just have a great time celebrating a year with potentially over 200 kids in our intervention program. So it's a great time. Title I teachers do a good job, and Nicole putting that together. That's it.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Klimisch? As it's a first read, we'll be back at it again next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12 on our agenda is the summer food program update, and Ms. Rotchek, we will let you share the news with us.
Thank you for inviting me tonight to talk about summer food. Summer food is one of my favorite times of year. It's just a kind of a more relaxed time. Our staff really enjoys the program, so we just really love summer food. But I just wanted to let you know some updates to our program. We're excited again this year to offer our grab and go summer food program, which we did last year. I was going to say yesterday, but last year we had a great turnout from the community. It really warmed our hearts that we gave away so many meals last year over the year before, and that's what child nutrition workers are all about, is feeding those kiddos. So that really, we really deemed last year as a success. So our schedule this year will be much the same as last year. We'll have 2 distribution days per week. On Tuesdays, we will distribute 3 breakfasts and 3 lunches. Fridays, we will distribute 4 breakfasts and 4 lunches. Same location out of our middle school cafeteria, which will run 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We kind of discussed different options this year, but a lot of parents come over their lunch hours. They just grab lunch, take it home, and go back to work. So our summer program will run from June 2nd, which is a Tuesday. That'll be that's Tuesday. That'll be our first distribution day, and our last distribution day will be August 7th. So we'll go into the August month. So just a little bit of a reminder, if a child is picking up meals for themselves, there's no need to sign up. However, if a parent wishes to pick up meals, a registration form is required, and that form can be found on our website. There's also a flyer going around with a QR code, both in English and Spanish, to sign up. And we also have been posting on our district Facebook and our Yankton Summer Food Facebook as well. So we realize not everyone's summer situation is the same. We have some older siblings maybe watching the younger siblings. So just like last year, we designed our menu to be eaten cold. So every option in that bag can be a cold meal. Otherwise, it can be warmed up with supervision. We know not all parents want, the oven going or the microwave going when they're not there. So it's great for those families. And also, we've had a lot of parents let us know too, which was kind of behind the design of the menu, that it was kind of nice when they're going out to the beach or going out of town. They just throw that meal in the cooler and take off. They don't have to worry about a hot meal or anything. It's already ready to go, and so they really appreciated that. So far we have this year, we just opened the registration last week, and so far we have 212 families that have already registered to pick up meals. So that's a plus. We're just really excited about that. And also we are really excited about the wide ranges of ages of children that have signed up. When we were in-person dining, there wasn't a lot of high schoolers that would come visit us, but now we do have a lot of high school kids that have signed up to get meals, which we're just really excited about. So we think it's going to be a great summer. We're always excited to partner with some great programs in our community during summer meals. United Way will we'll set up their Little Red Bookshelf again. The Yankton Fire Department will be on site to do fire information and also free fire alarm giveaways to our family. Just one little side note, we had one of our staff members receive one of these fire alarms last year, and she didn't have one in her space, and we think it saved her life last year because her electric baseboard heat had a little malfunction in it, and her apartment filled up with smoke, and that fire alarm went off, and so we were pretty emotional about that. So when the fire department asked if they could come back, we said absolutely. we are totally in agreement with that. And then we always have information about the Yankton Community Library Summer Reading Program available for our kiddos. We'll go down and get some packets from them soon. And also this year, I've entered our program to receive some kits to give away to our summer families to start a container garden at their home. So I should hear more if we're approved for this program soon. But other than that, like I said, summer is one of our favorite times, and to be very honest, I was worried about not being able to have the kind of interaction we have as child nutrition professionals with the students when we weren't doing in-person dining. But last year, it was neat to have the parents come in, the kids come in, and I think it was more community involvement. We got to know the kiddos that came in more, and joke around about what they're doing, plans for the summer and that kind of thing. So that part hasn't gone away, so we're really grateful for that. But But I just wanted to say thank you again for your support of Summer Meals Program. We're really excited to offer it and take part of it again this year. So if you have any questions or comments for me.
I just wanted to say thank you to you and all of your staff for ensuring food security for our kiddos as school ends. I think for a lot of families that can be a scary time because it's, you know, that's not guaranteed. So thank you. And then your collaboration and finding other additional things that we can offer to them at the same time has been great for our community. Thanks.
Thank you.
Talk about the funding just for a minute or so that comes to fund that summer school program.
Sure. So summer food program is free for all student or all kids in our community 1 through 18, ages 1 through 18. And so we receive federal funding dollars for that program. So every year we have to, you know, apply to be in the program. You have to have your food service program has to be what they call an outstanding program, that you have, you know, 0 things on your last admin review, that kind of thing, which our program meets those qualifications. But with with this type of funding, with this summer meals program, and with the grab and go program, we are also allowed to do breakfast meals for the kiddos too. So that it is more of a funding dollars for us, that and that way we can, you know, put more funding, more of this funding back into our program.
Very good. Thank you. And I echo Sarah's comments. Thank you and your staff for providing this opportunity for our kiddos with some food security. And remind everyone, starting date?
I always have to look. June 2nd. I don't want to say a wrong thing. June 2nd, and we'll go through August 7th. So, and a few of those days, you know, we'll have a couple different days for distribution for holidays and stuff, but we will advertise that on Facebook, and we'll make sure all the parents know that. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 13 is setting our budget hearing date. And Shireen, I'll let you just kind of comment about that.
First, I'm going to go over the preliminary budget. We had all met in small groups to go over next year's budget. And so this is kind of just the beginning of, you'll see we finalize this in September, you'll adopt this in September. But like I said, we all met in different groups, small groups, and now this is just the first presentation to the public board meeting regarding the general fund, capital outlays, special ed, impact aid, food service, and concessions. And it kind of, I'm just going to go a little bit over it, not item by item, but just kind of subtotal categories. So if you look, these are the expenses. General fund, subtotal construction is approximately $14 million. That has salaries, has middle school, elementary, all the different things that are instructional. You go further down, supportive services equals $12 million, about $12 million, and that's everything from anything supporting the budget. And so you have your account number and your item listed there too. Where I want to go and show is then you have your funding, so your grants, your Title I, Title II, Title III, and the funding that we get for expenditures that we'll spend. What I wanted to show you this year, I didn't have last year, but you had asked the difference. So this is the final budget number in September across the top there. If you look at the difference, that is comparing last year's to this year. So you can see we're very close to the same kind of budget we were previously. The reason this is less this next year than this is textbooks are not in the general fund there. So you can see our budgets are really close. If you look at the capital outlay, 417 is the difference. Well then textbooks or just different, we're doing bleachers, the different kinds of projects that are in there that we're allowed to do and presented on with you guys in the small groups. And then you'll show SPED, really not a big difference, 265. That's salary increases, that's just different services. Again, that's also a prediction because you're not sure who's going to come in and out of your district with special ed education needs. Impact aid is generally 50 every year. Food service, those are the expenditures, very similar to the previous year, and concessions, very similar.
It's actually identical as far as that goes. So those are your total expenditures. I'll click onto our financial part,
And that's just showing how we're going to pay for this. And again, it's just by local sources is your first set of numbers, and that, and then you'll have your state sources and your federal sources. And down here is what will come out of our reserve to pay for all the expenditures. Very similar to last year. I mean, it's kind of, that speaks for itself as far as all the different funds. Do you have questions? I know this is a fast kind of go over it, but we have met in small groups and went over really detailed of the different items in each of these categories, and kind of went over, you know, you have your increase, what we gave. Staff is a big part of where you see differences and stuff. Do you have questions on any of this at this time? No? Okay. And then just pretty much this is just to set the meeting. July will be our budget hearing, and we have it usually at the beginning of the meeting, and that's just to set this. That's the action item for tonight.
All right, and with that, I would open up for a motion to set that budget hearing for our July meeting on the 13th here at the admin building.
Motion to set the budget hearing for 5:15 p.m. on July 13th, 2026 at the admin building.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mueller?
Yes.
Shield?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
Frick?
Yes.
Greenway?
Yes. The last item on our agenda is adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.